Ex-New Jersey police chief gets $453,000 payout. NJ.com. October 15, 2017 at 8:58 Eastern Time. Newark. The city's former police chief, who retired last year amid an overhaul of Newark's police and fire departments, is set to receive a $453,725 payout for his 666 days of unused and owed time, New Jersey Advance Media has learned. Anthony Campos began his 30-year tenure in the police department in 1986, working his way through the ranks and serving briefly as chief in 2006. He was reappointed to the position in 2014 by Mayor Ras Baraka. Campos, 51, who still resides in the East Ward, retired in June 2016 with an unused backlog of 50 vacation days, 33 holidays, 530 days of compensatory time and 53 days for his years of service, according to his retirement paperwork. Those days will be paid based on his $175,000 salary as chief, records show. This is something this gentleman accumulated over a 30-year period. He's not any different than any other police officer that retires, Public Safety Director Anthony Ambrose told New Jersey Advance Media, adding that his payout was contractual. Born and raised in the East Ward of the city, he went through the ranks, Ambrose said. He was very dedicated to the department. "This is what I've done my whole life, I love it," said Campos, who began his career in the department right after high school. Mark Pfeiffer, assistant director of the Bluestein Local Government Research Center at Rutgers University, said the $453,000 payout is probably within the range of others with 30-year tenures and not out of the ordinary for someone retiring at the higher end of the pay scale. "The way it has always worked is you get paid out at your final rate, despite when you earn the time," he said. $512,000 payout for top Jersey City cop renews call for reform. A Republican lawmaker has called on state legislative leaders to curb payouts for unused sick, vacation and comp time. The New Jersey Local Finance Board, however, has proposed a rule that could change these hefty payouts. Pfeiffer said in August the board proposed requiring future payouts be based on the salary rate when the days were accumulated, unless a contract or municipal policy says otherwise. An analysis by New Jersey Spotlight this March found public workers are owed $1.9 billion in unused time when they retire. And that number is only rising. There have been bipartisan efforts in the legislature to stop these accruals and six-figure payouts, but most have stalled. In 2010, Governor Chris Christie capped payouts at $15,000 but only for new school, county, and municipal employees. A 30-year tenure. During his time at the police department, Campos clashed with former Mayor Cory Booker and later sued Booker, claiming he didn't receive promised raises and other incentives when he agreed to step down as chief and take a post as public safety director. The case was settled for $25,000. As part of the settlement agreement, all investigations against Campos were closed with no administrative action, the agreement said. Campos was briefly suspended by then Newark Police Director Gary McCarthy for allegedly defying orders and rescinding personnel transfers. He was also accused of patronizing an illegal motorcycle club bar in the city. Campos denied those allegations and said he never served a formal suspension. After stepping down as chief in 2009, Campos was later named public safety director and then reassigned to the 5th Precinct as a deputy chief. Baraka appointed Campos as police chief again in 2014. Campos will receive his $453,725 payout in several installments through 2018, including $5,000 for sick time and a $437 clothing allowance, records show. The payments are separate from his monthly pension allowance of $10,790, according to state pension records.
You know about the protests in Wisconsin this winter, but did you know that they continue?
They say you need no union if your collar isn't blue. Well, that is just another lie the boss is telling you.
Every day, union supporters still gather inside the Capitol and sing protest songs. This man sang about collectivism.
I thought collectivism didn't work.
Yeah, this is a good one.
The whole country functions on collectivism.
How much money does it save, Governor? Just
that particular part doesn't save any.
Okay.
And the battle for Wisconsin's also being fought in Washington.
That's right.
In the same way that
That's
if you,
the point. It
if you read the
obviously
federal
has
budget,
no effect
I'll answer your
whatsoever.
question.
The man the congressmen and unions are mad at is Governor Scott Walker. He won the governor's race by complaining that government and unions were throwing money down a hole.
And long term, you just can't sustain that.
Walker asked them to pay a little more of their pension and health care costs, still less than private sector workers pay. But the union said no.
Somehow they were entitled to a fixed standard of living and a fixed compensation package.
The unions eventually said, okay, they'd pay more of their benefits, but Walker also wanted to rein in their power to get future benefits.
If you don't have a permanent change, they can come back 2 years from now with a new contract and jack up health care costs for
What
the
do you mean
taxpayers.
jack it up? You can say no.
Your hands are tied.
We want justice! How about you?
Tied, he says, by collective bargaining rules. So Walker moved to limit those.
If you're under a collective bargaining agreement, no matter what the financial situation of that local government or the state government is, the unions don't have to budge.
They don't have to budge because government has no real competition. Governments, unlike private businesses, don't go out of business when they overspend.
If the private sector, an employer can say, if we don't do this, we're going to move our operations to another location. And then people have to decide whether it's worth risking that. But the difference is in government, you got nowhere to go.
He wants to take away workers' rights to collectively bargain.
John Erpenbach is one of the 14 Democratic state senators who fled Wisconsin to try to stop the legislature from passing Governor Walker's bill. That won the union's adoration. Listen to what happens when we walk to where the protesters can see the senator.
The actual action of collective bargaining, the language of collective bargaining, doesn't save or spend money one way or the other. In the end, it's whatever governor's administration.
Wait, I mean, if you can collectively bargain,
Right.
you can get more stuff. That's why they fight for it.
Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't.
The current system is rigged to create a vicious cycle. Money goes from taxpayers to government workers, to dues to the union, and then from the union to the politicians who promise to do more for the government workers. Round and round.
You Democrats give kickbacks to unions that elected you.
What kind of kickbacks? Like what?
Good pension, extra good pensions.
It's a good pension. There's no doubt about that. It's stuff they negotiated.
It's a kickback for electing
No,
you.
it's the stuff they've negotiated over the years with Democrat administrations and Republican administrations. The reason why public employees support me is, number one, I support what they're doing.
He supports union leaders like Malin Mitchell. Mitchell heads the firefighters union.
You elect your own bosses. You contribute to the Democrats, and then the Democrats pay you back with a good deal. They want to take that power away. I can kind of see why.
We're a nonpartisan union. We contribute to Republicans as well as Democrats.
But I'm looking at the list here, public sector unions, political donations. 92% to Democrats last year.
And that's because we contribute to members or people that are with our issues. And generally, the Democratic way are with our issues.
So that doesn't sound very nonpartisan.
Well, if the Republicans come back to the good side of town, then we'll start contributing more money to them.
Governor Walker isn't holding his breath.
Would America be better off without unions?
Certainly in the public sector. I mean, it's why Franklin...
What's the difference? Public, private.
President Roosevelt, who obviously is no slouch when it comes to Democrats and unions, said that public sector unions would be a problem for the United States.
Even FDR says they shouldn't have collective bargaining rights. But the public, when you do polls today, you're the evil guy who took away their rights.
The unions poured $4 or $5 million into TV ads and talked about rights.
There's a radical move underway in Madison to roll back the rights of our trusted public employees.
This is about our rights.
Collective bargaining rights. Taking away of union rights is not right.
People hear the word rights on almost anything, human rights, civil rights. union rights, collective bargaining rights. People like rights. And this is really an expensive entitlement.
This happened in Puerto Rico 2 years ago. Thousands of union members clashed with police for days. They protested in front of the governor's mansion because they were upset that their new governor proposed cuts far bigger than Wisconsin's. But the governor just smiled and waved. Luis Fortunio says he had to make cuts because Puerto Rico's economy was a mess.
Not just a mess. We didn't have enough money to meet our first payroll.
Agrícola de Puerto Rico.
Fortunio's predecessors had grown Puerto Rico's government to the point that 1 out of every 3 workers worked for the state. And the state was generous about giving out contracts.
They couldn't care. You know, the vendors will raise the prices, and they would just sign the contracts because it was not their money. It was the taxpayers' money.
As a result, by the time Fortunio was elected, Puerto Rico was broke. Fortunio decided the government would handle money differently.
We had to handle it as if it was our own money.
The new conservative majority, the first in Puerto Rico in 40 years, passed Law 7, which shrank the state.
So what'd you cut? Everything. I started with my own salary. I froze all salaries across the government.
People must have screamed. You let 17,000 workers go.
If you can't pay their salaries, what are you going to do?
People called him a fascist, and worse, they said he should raise taxes instead of cutting government. We've heard that before.
Our taxes, as it is, were as high as they could be, actually much higher than in most of the country. So what we've done is the opposite.
He reduced corporate taxes from 35 to 25%. He reduced individual income taxes, and he privatized entire government agencies.
Bring in the private sector. They will do a better job. They will do it cheaper.
But government workers lost jobs.
The unions hate you.
Of course, they felt threatened.
Well, they were threatened. You cut 17,000 jobs.
Some of them wanted to work with us and lowered the government expenses, and some of them did and saved jobs. Others refused and lost jobs.
One fired government employee threw an egg at the governor.
You ducked. I ducked. But bottom line here is, you know, they will try to push back at the right decisions because a lot of people will rather stay comfortable in the comfort zone and not do what needs to be done.
The governor also cut his government's red tape. There was a lot of that, and that made it hard to open a business.
28 different business regulations and permits to open.
Crazy. Today we've got one regulation. That's it.
Didn't bureaucrats say, oh no, we need all these steps?
Of course they did. There's a permanent government.
A permanent government. That's common everywhere. Government employs hundreds of thousands of people, often just to shuffle paper, and those people lobby to keep their jobs. Like the police officers who did nothing but approve liquor licenses.
There were 250 policemen and women handling that.
Just liquor licenses?
Just to guarantee that you didn't have a prior record, criminal record.
This entrepreneur's mad because to sell marmalade out of her house, she had to spend a year getting government permits. She displays some on her wall. Even though her business is in her home, government rules required her to have an accessible bathroom. This woman's full-time job is helping businesses, mostly restaurants, wade through the maze.
I said, you cook and I take care of the government, and don't worry.
And now the new permit office says the rules are much easier.
It's helpful to have everything in one place.
Now she says it takes just 2 weeks to get permission to open a small store.
How about a copy of Give Me a Break?
This is my version of that. This one was in Delaware.
You want to buy a Fox t-shirt?
Delaware was said to be the most business-friendly state, but it still took me a week to get permission to do this. In Hong Kong, it took just 1 day.
Thank you, sir.
So the 2-week wait in Puerto Rico is still a handicap, but it's much faster than it used to be.
Do you hear now from businesses responding to that?
Of course. Walmart is expanding significantly, and Costco.
600 construction permits were issued in the first few months after the new rules went into effect. This drug company is expanding.
We're going to get more employees, up to 450 employees.
Coca-Cola's begin construction on a Dasani bottling plant that'll employ thousands.
There are a number of restaurants are coming in from the mainland.
Did you ever have a fired worker come to you and say, Governor, you know, I worked in the bureaucracy for 20 years. I would have never left. You fired me, but now I'm glad because I'm doing...
Of course, people like that woman selling marmalade. She used to work for the government, keeping historical records. Being fired was hard.
I feel bad because I have a big family.
But now that she started her own business, she says getting fired was a good thing.
I am my boss.
So good, she named her company Law 7, after the law that fired her.
It's good. For me, it's good.
And now, if a bar wants a liquor license...
Today you do it online.
One clerk on a computer.
Exactly, and that's it. So we have those policemen and women out in the streets where they belong.
Still, lots of people are mad, especially the government workers who lost jobs. A recent poll showed that if Fortunio ran for re-election now, he'd lose 47 to 25%. Fortunio says, so what?
I don't need this job. I'm doing it because I want to do it.
What do you mean when you say, I don't need this job?
I come from the private sector. I enjoyed what I was doing. I really enjoyed what I was doing.
You can go back to that.
And I can go back to that.
And over time, Puerto Rican voters may come to like his conservative government.
Thank you very much.
Ronald Reagan's popularity suffered when he made cuts. So did Richard Engler's in Michigan and Gary Johnson's in New Mexico. But all were later re-elected by big margins.
I didn't care to look at those numbers because I knew how it was going to be. And I was in Washington in the President Reagan's first term. I know how unpopular he was during the first 2 years, but he was doing a lot of the right stuff. And at the end of the day, the numbers came back, and he won by a landslide.
Fortunio's advice to leaders who want to shrink the state?
Do what you need to do quickly, swiftly, like when you take off a Band-Aid, you know, just do it and move on to better things.
Need a car? Don't forget to stop by carmarshal.com where you can scout through over 100,000 new and used car vehicles. Take a look around. Get you a new affordable car. carmarshal.com.
Hey Charlotte County, this is Charlotte County COPWATCH, and I found that I had to make a change this ending on my videos, letting you know about the channel and fair use laws, you know, how we can report on other people's reporting and how it's good, how it's bad, etc. But you guys can look it up yourself. It is legal. It's in there. But like I've told you before, that I've been cut off from making money on YouTube for 4 years. It's really weird, bizarre, but they cut the money off, but they said you can keep the channel, and now YouTube makes all the money. And if you get bored, plug it into Social Blade website, and you'll see that they are making a huge amount off the site. Right now it's at 63 million views, 53,000 subscribers, almost 3 million views a month. You know, trying to wake people up, and I make nothing. In fact, I got a customer that's ex-congressman. He said if I could ever find a lawyer, sue YouTube on it. But because this is nuts, 4 hours a day, and to save America. You know, but at the same time, it's worth it. Look at what our founding fathers did. They died for this country. So, but getting back to the money part, this is why I'm redoing the video. Is my dream of everyone giving $1, and it's going to be $53,000 a year, or if they did Patreon, which you know, can be monthly. That is not working. That'd be great if it did. Nothing is perfect. And I appreciate the people that do donate, you know, what they can on PayPal, and there again, I'm letting you guys know that is not much. Is, you know, monthly is, oh my god. So anyways, yes, you cannot live on it. It's very, very, very low amount. But the dollar things, I do appreciate that. But when I first said everybody give $1, that's not working. I'm just letting you guys know it's, yeah, that's that dream. Everybody gives $1. 53,000 subscribers, it's not working. So yes, if you can give more than that, you know, I appreciate it. Like I said, you know, I'm in a unique situation where, you know, we're already debt free, and I I'm not rich, but with the little business that we have, I am able to do what I am able to do 45 hours a day, you know, letting you guys know what's going on. In 4 years, I've did the whole thing myself, 12,000 videos on there. I literally get emails where people are like, holy crap, I never knew it was this bad. And it is this bad, and it's getting worse every day because we have the internet, we have cell phones, we have cameras everywhere now, and it's just disgusting what's going on. And then, as you guys know, too, now we got Trump, we got Jeff Sessions doing a war on drugs, and now he wants to go after the forfeiture laws again. It's just unfreaking real. So, if you can give more than that, that dream of everybody giving $1, yeah, that old video, that's not working. They're not, they're just not. So anyways, if you can give more than that, that dream is not working. Hardly anybody is giving. There you go. So that's why I'm remaking the video. If you can give more than that, that would be great. And there again, like I said, the Patreon's there. There is some people on there that are starting to give, but there again, it's very, very low. And like I said, I don't want to get rich off of that. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing because, you know, it's still so stinking corrupt. It's not even funny. My court case that I'm going to be paying out of my pocket myself with Charlotte County's coming up. They illegally looked me up and then posted all my information on LEOAFFAIRS website. They basically doxed me, however you want to say that. I forget what the word is, and they outed me, man. And that information on that site went out to 500 sheriffs, deputies, people that work at the jail, etc., etc., etc. So, yeah, it is very, very scary, but we're going to do a federal case, 1983 case, violating freedom of speech. We have 17 cameras in the house now. We got 2 cameras in the car. I always carry a camera plus a cell phone. A lot of people are highly recommending I get a vest now. If I could, if the wife would let me, I would run for sheriff. We are trying to push the thing nationwide right now, where just to mix it up and to get the topics out there is register to run for sheriff, NPA, no party affiliation, as a write-in, and that is completely free, and you can participate in the elections. And there's a lot of stuff. We got a guy, James McLinnis in Pinellas County, Tampa, who almost won. He experienced the corruption himself. The story is unbelievable. Look him up. It's mind-blowing what they did. It pissed him off. He is very, very smart. He has way more money than I did. He ran for sheriff at the last 3 months last year in 2016 and almost won. He got all of the black vote. And the reason why he did that is because he ran in, I will not bust, we're in Florida, I will not bust anybody for weed anymore unless it's an ungodly huge amount, like pounds. And then he also ran in, no more victimless crimes, no more of this freaking road pirate bull crap. And then he was going to cut the budget by 30%. And when you think about that, you can. If you stop the road pirates, you can get rid of a bunch of people. Gone. So, the wife has been saying, yes, I can, yes, I can't. So I don't know. We're trying to find somebody that can do it because I am busy doing this anyways. But, so I'm making a video, like I said, that $1 a month from everybody, you know, for 53,000 subscribers, that is not working. I'm just letting you guys know. Absolutely give way more than $1 a month. If you can, I appreciate anything. By the way, remember too, when you give that, PayPal takes like freaking 15 to 20%, so it's even worse than that. But, and there again, like I'm letting you guys know, it's way, what I get is very, very low. Appreciate it, but it is very, very low. Can't live on it. I'm just, you know, I'm working, and that's what I'm working on. And that court case is going to cost a buttload of money. That's federal court. Just the filing fees and the depositions that we're going to be doing with this corrupt cop. So there's another reason to give. We are going to be doing a deposition with this very corrupt. He was in a drug squad. He is a bad guy. He's on steroids. We heard steroids are rampant here. That's why their attitude is so bad. And we are going to get him on video, and it will be on YouTube. So that case alone is $5,000 just to bring it to court, and that's my money out of my pocket. So there's another reason to give, and give way more than $1 if you can. So keep that in mind. This is the new video, and I see, God, I talk a lot. It's already 7 minutes, but had to make it just to let you know the $1 a month from Remedy is not working. They're not doing it, so if you can give more than that, please. So, thanks. Keep it up. Share, like, subscribe, tell your friends, send me your videos on corruption, and I'll post it.